Welcome class. Today we're here with Corné van Zyl, strategist at Axiom. Thank you for having us here, Corné. We're going to talk about CEO overconfidence and the article from Malmendier Tate. To bring some practical information and some practical insights on the topic of CEO overconfidence, we invited Corné to talk about the case of Arcadis and Hyder and Callison, the acquisition that took place in 2014. Corné, can you briefly introduce yourself and tell the class what you're doing before we get into depth on this article?
Okay. Well, it's a pleasure to have this interview. Welcome, class. I was a portfolio manager until June last year, 2016, and I've done that since 1994. Running the Dutch portfolio, which equals to an asset under management of around 1 billion. And since then, the Dutch equity fund has merged into the European fund, and I'm now a buy-side analyst and strategist for Axiom.
Okay, thank you. The first question we prepared for today is, do you think the acquisition of Hyder by Arcadis in 2014 was driven by an overconfident CEO, Neil MacArthur?
Yes, MacArthur was in a very difficult position that he has succeeded a very successful predecessor, which has a long run of history with a lot of fruitful and successful acquisitions. And then he came as a new guy and he had to prove himself. And therefore, that I think it explains his overconfidence. And apart from that, to be overconfident, you have to have a string of successes. Well, the string of successes already later, and he had to prove to the outside world that he can lengthen that strength of success. So that made him a real gave him a real driver for him to do large acquisitions, to expand the company, and I think he was as a result of that overconfident.
Okay, thank you. The second question, as a practical man in the field with so much experience like you have, do you look at these managers and think, okay, this guy is really overconfident, this guy has a background which might influence his decisions, and do you take this into account when buying or selling stock?
Yes, you look at the person itself, and therefore it's always a subjective way to look at a person. You cannot objectify. You can look at certain things about, well, the main thing is, has he a large exposure to the media? Does he like to present himself as successful? Does he get involved into politics or ESG matters? So a high profile on different ways just to be him as a CEO of a company. That's a thing. One practical thing is, there's a kind of a rule, if the CEO is a lot of in the Stan Huygens journal, that's a kind of, it's always give the surroundings of a person in the Telegraph. That's a Dutch newspaper. Yeah. When he's there a lot, then you have to be.
It's not a good sign.
That's not a good sign. You have to be really careful.
It's time to get out.
Yes.
The last question, or maybe the before last question. Do you think right now in the Dutch market are there a lot of overconfident CEOs, or maybe CEOs who perceive themselves better than they are?
Yeah. What you see is that there is some overconfidence on profile on ESG. Some people who like to show themselves on the ESG part because that's really in focus in vogue now currently. Yeah. But apart from that, on balance, I see less overconfidence, and that's mainly the result of the severe crisis we have seen. Yeah. Like I said, to be overconfident, you have to have a string of success. Yeah. When there is such a severe economic crisis, the string of success is simply less, and therefore it leads to lesser overconfidence. And I think the profile as such, if you look at CEOs, has been to be more down to earth, and I think that's a good thing.
less high rollers.
Less high rollers, indeed.
And do you think the supervisory board maybe plays a role in this as well? The increased corporate governance we see, or
not as much as I would like to. Still, it's still an all boys network, but less and less, and that's a good thing. And what you also see is that there are more and more female in management as well. Currently, as of 9th of March, we even have the largest company with a female CFO. And on balance, that's a good thing. And now also Heineken, AXO, DSM. And on balance, that's good. But keep in mind, females are persons as well. So it's not good to have it as a standard rule. And there again, you have to look at the person as such.
Okay. I think that's it for today. Thank you for your insights and your time.
Thanks for the interview.
And have a good day. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
See you.
And good luck all.
Yes.